Right, hello. Basically, I'm looking at something that I haven't talked about before. And it's aeroplanes. Has anybody ever been on an aeroplane? Because I've never been on an aeroplane before. And I don't know what it's like, but, you know, an old friend that my dad used to know used to come around here and basically used to say to me about basically aeroplanes and everything, right? They're quite simple because basically, you know, he was talking about, you know, that they were so simple when they were taking off and that they were like, and all this. And I used to think, you know what, you make it sound so simple like when you go in an aeroplane. But I'm one of these persons that probably would hate it when I get to go on an aeroplane, because I'm like thinking to myself when it goes off how nervous it basically is. I think I've been told that it's one way or another. I think it's either taking off or landing. One of them is basically nothing to it. But the other one is a little bit, because you do feel it in that. And I've never really been on one. I mean, it's a bit like thinking that when you're like living in America, I get the feeling that a lot of people travel by aeroplane to get from one place to another. Possible in many parts, because it's quite a lengthy journey. I mean, in England, it would be quite mad to go on a plane to somewhere. I mean, you don't normally. I mean, I know London to Edinburgh is something like a long way away, but you don't get many people that would ever go on an aeroplane from Edinburgh to London or something like that, because generally the buses and the trains are quite common in this country. But it is quite thing to basically do that. But it is quite interesting, you know, about aeroplanes. I've never been on one, and I don't know what they're like, the experience wise. And I guess visiting an airport would be quite thing, because basically these days it'll be all, you know, you're going to get scanned. You're going to go through metal detectors and things like that and get scanned, body scanners as they call them. And I have no problem with them, because basically they should be there for a reason, to help protect Earth while we obviously go flying. I know some people think it goes a little bit too far, but I think that should be a problem. Although a little bit in that sense of what do you think it sees when you actually go through it, because it can probably see, like, I mean, that's like seeing in your whole body. Not that you can see everything. I mean, you just had a great big meal, and I'm not sure it's going to digest all food down the system, just through metal scanners, and it'll be like, I can see the food that you've just been eating. I don't think something like that's going to ever happen. That would be a bit crazy, but it does, and it reminds me a little bit like the film Police Academy, when they had to go somewhere, and the one who makes some sounds was doing it when one of the police officers kept walking through the scene, kept making a sound, as if to say that something that he was wearing, basically, and so on, was literally making the scanners go off, you know, beep. Every time we went through, it went beep, beep, which was just quite funny, and that. So yeah, so I'm sure people can comment and say that I've been on an aeroplane and there's nothing to it. Maybe other ways of going on it is to go on private planes and things like that, you know, the ones that you can actually go on and have a little bit of a test, instead of going on big jumbo jets just to get yourself, you know, because I'm sure there are ways, you know, because if you have a fear of flying, which I do not know because I've never been on a plane, so I wouldn't know, then there's a chance you can look at that idea and think that might be one way of doing it, because I'm sure, you know, like a helicopter. So that could be one way of doing it, you know, going on to doing these things, and then you'll know exactly if it's actually a good thing or a bad thing when you go on a plane. I have only ever been on, well, I was going to say I've only ever been on three transportations, but generally I've mostly been on buses, trains, and cars, and of course boats and things like that. Not really a big ship, but small boats and things like that. So I've never really been anywhere where I have to go on a big ship or an aeroplane, as I quite like to say, because I've never been aboard. And all of my holidays and things have been quite simple, where I've taken a bus or a train to get to that destination in the UK. So there you go. That's my little blog for today, talking about something that I've never experienced and so on. Which, of course, you know how random my blogs are. And I'm sure a lot of people remember my very old bus one, which was just crazy. But anyway, we will leave it there, and I'll have plenty more to basically come through with later. So it's goodbye.